Good evening, listeners, and you're very welcome along to Across the Line here on Tipp FM with myself, Paul Carroll. And this Friday, the 10th of April, 2026. Over the course of the next hour, we're going to be looking ahead to the sporting action in Tipperary. We're going to be focusing on Tipperary versus Waterford and Munster Senior Football quarter-final. We'll hear from Tipp captain Paudie Feehan. We'll also hear from Anthony Shelly, our football analyst, looking ahead to the game and some other Tipp football topics over the course of this hour. We're also going to be speaking to Ray Ralph, the Tipp minor camogie manager. They take on Galway on Saturday in the All-Ireland minor camogie semi-final. And as always, Barry Drake will round off the show with his weekly greyhound racing update. And I'll give you the rundown on what's happening elsewhere in Tipperary over the course of the weekend. And a reminder, Across the Line on Tipp FM is all with thanks to the Premier Credit Union in Thurles. Right, let's start with Tipperary versus Waterford in the Munster Senior Football quarter-final. This is on in Dungarvan in Cappoquin Logistics Fraher Field on Sunday at 2 p.m. and it will be live here on Tipp FM with thanks to John Kennedy Motors, your main Toyota dealers in Clonmel. At the launch of the Munster Championship, I caught up with Tipperary captain Paudie Feehan, so let's hear from the Kilnall man now. Right, here with Tipperary football captain Paudie Feehan. Paudie, just reflecting back on the league, I suppose, is where we'll start. Missed out on promotion on the final day. How do you kind of look back on the league? 8 points for a finish is a decent return from a possible 14, but how would yourself and the players kind of look back on it?
Yeah, I suppose 8 points is not a bad return, but I suppose at the start of the year we targeted promotion and we didn't get there, so disappointing overall. Probably let ourselves down in one or two of the games, but yeah, look, 8 points is progress from where we've been in the last couple of years, but still disappointing not to get promotion.
Yeah, Eva, the squad in there at the minute is a young team. Like, you've a lot of young lads after coming through in the last kind of couple of years. You know, the likes of Keane Smith is one of your key forwards, but he's only in his second year, and a lot of new lads as well. How has that dynamic been in the group? Like, has it kind of changed? Is there a younger average age in there now at the minute?
Yeah, like it is. I suppose we've had a lot of turnover over the last couple of years, but this year is probably the first year we've retained a lot of players, and that's been great. Even at the end of last year, a lot of the 20s would have came in for the last couple of weeks for the Talton Cup, and that's been a great help, because when we hit the ground in November, a lot of the guys had been exposed to the group and what's expected of them, so it's been kind of a good transition that way, that we got them in at the end of last year. A lot of them have got league time throughout the league. I think it's about 10 of them of the under-20s last year have seen league time, and like, they're all quality players, you can see that, and even a lot of them have Sigerson medals to show for it now this year, which is great. Yeah, and that probably brought a good bit of confidence to the group, that you have players of that calibre, like winning Sigerson, starting in Sigerson teams. That adds to it as well. No, it does, yeah, and like we've seen over the last couple of years, the 20 squads have been having great results and great performances. You could see this group of players coming, so it'll have you a bit more eager to hang around for another couple of years to hopefully have the team on an upward trajectory, you know. Yeah,
like when you came together at the start of this year, it was obviously difficult circumstances with Philly's passing, and Niall Fitzgerald came in. But just reflecting back on Philly's passing, like, did you come together as a squad? Like, that's something you can't plan on how you deal with these things, but how did you kind of weather that storm at the time as a panel?
I suppose it's tough, like, and no one really knows how to deal with them things, you know. And it's tough, I suppose, just trying to, get around the family, especially with Shane and being involved as well, is just trying to get around them and show our support for him at that time, you know, and then getting back on the field and, you know, trying to remember Philly in a way that, you know, he's a man that loved Tipp football so much. Just trying to show, you know, to get that in through the group as well. Like, that seeped into the group last year when he was involved with us, you know, and it was great that we got back to Clonmel this year and played Leitrim. The team, that was the last team we played when Philly was the manager. We got back to Clonmel, Philly's home club, and got a win there that day. That was big for the group, really, and I think that was something we mentioned during the week, that we're going back to Philly's club, and it's the last team that we played, and, you know, that was massive for us that week. Yeah, I suppose that showed in the performance that day as well. Yeah, probably one of your best performances of the league. Niall has come in. A lot of the lads would have known Niall from the under-20s. How have you found that kind of new setup this year? Yeah, no, Niall's been brilliant, in fairness. I suppose Niall being the under-20 manager for, I think it was 3 years, a lot of the guys know him really well, and that gives the younger guys confidence that they can get into the team as well. You know, a lot of times you see young players come in and they don't really feel that they have a chance of getting into the team, I suppose when they had that relationship with Niall, it made it easier for them, gave them more confidence, and I think they're really driving things now and taking it to some of the older lads, you know what I mean? And they've done really well so far in the league for us.
And Niall made you captain. How did you kind of feel about that? Is it something you enjoy? Are you a loud captain, talkative, or what way do you kind of approach it?
I don't know, look, it's great. It's a great honour for myself and I suppose my club as well. Like, so he let me know earlier on in the year and I was delighted. But just try and do the same things that I've always been doing. And I think it's great that I suppose Stephen's still on the squad there and he's been captain for a number of years, so he's always someone you can kind of lean on. And I suppose even with Jimmy at home as well. Like, so there's a lot of senior players in and around, so it's not really a difficult job when you have that kind of experience and that leadership around you, you know.
You mentioned Jimmy. How is he? He's kind of missed out on the league with, I believe, ankle injury, but how is that kind of recovery coming?
Good. He's not too far away, in fairness, so hopefully over the next couple of weeks we might see him. He's had a long road, in fairness, but he's working really hard and hopefully all goes to plan and we'll see him in the next couple of weeks.
Doesn't strike me as a kind of a fella that would like being injured and out on the sideline. I'd imagine he'd probably haul himself onto the field any way he could. He probably has to be held back a bit.
Yeah, no, I suppose he doesn't have much experience of it either, so he's had a great run throughout his career, so hopefully he can finish off this rehab and not worry about injuries again.
Yeah. Second year now with the new rules. They've obviously been transformative for Gaelic football. You're playing in that middle third. Kickouts are a massive thing. You like to have a crack at an all two-pointer as well with the left boot. How have you found the new rules? Is it much better, enjoyable to play in, or how have you found it?
Yeah, much more enjoyable in fairness. I suppose it gives a lot more space. It's harder to defend, but it allows your players, if you have quality up top, it allows them to shine a bit more. You even see like our inside forward line this year of Shawnee, Keane Smith, Dahi, they're getting a lot of chance to get even one-on-one, whereas in a couple of years ago they would have been, if they could take on one man, they would have had to take on three, do you know what I mean? And you get to see a lot more what these guys can do, and they've been great for us so far this year, and I suppose it's something we've developed this year, trying to get them guys into space, you know, and it's just when you get them guys into space they're very hard to stop, you know?
Yeah, Dahi is absolutely electric when he's ball in hand. The kickouts are so important now in Gaelic football, and a lot of them are those contestables into the middle of the field and either trying to win primary possession or getting onto a break. How's that when you're in that middle third, like, because they're so important to try and win those kickouts?
Yeah, they are, and I suppose it's something that we'll work on quite a bit as well, and it's a lot more difficult now than it was a couple of years ago. You've such the opposition have such a good chance to put a squeeze on you when especially if you're against a breeze, but we just had to keep working on it. I think our percentages have actually been pretty good over the league, both on our kickouts and opposition, so it's something we've worked quite a bit on. And like, if you can win the opposition kickouts, it gives you such a foothold in the game, and like even the weekend when you get on top of them, I think we've got a good few scores in a row, and it's hard to get out once you're pinned in, you know.
Yeah. At the start of the year, John Niall would have said that the league was the target at the start. Now that the league is passed, what do you kind of aim at as a group and as a group of players and management? What's the kind of next target?
The next target is Waterford in 2 weeks' time. You know, we're going down to Fairfield, and we just need to focus on the performance and all the things that we need to work on from last week, just trying to get them right and make sure that we sharpen up in a few things and hopefully go down there, put in a performance and get a win, and we'll take things from there, you know, that'll put us into the next round of Munster Championship, and we'll see where we go from there. Yeah,
because it's kind of a weird point, because you still are in the hunt to get to a Munster final or to go further, get to an All-Ireland series, but then as your Division 4 team you're probably looking at the Tailteann Cup, but you don't want to be thinking about Tailteann Cup yet because you haven't played in the Munster, so it's probably a little bit difficult at this period of the year.
Yeah, it is, but I think that's why it's important that you just take it game by game and you deal with the results after. Like, we just need to focus on Waterford in 2 weeks' time, and if we win that game or lose that game, we'll deal with it the week after, whatever way that comes, you know. And that's the way we just need to be for the next couple of weeks. And even with the way the Tailteann Cup is this year with the open draw, like, it's not a group stage last year as well, so we just think we'll need to take every game now, game by game, for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. So there's no group in the Tailteann this year, or is it open?
Yeah, it's open draw in the first round, and then if you win, winners play winners and losers play losers. So it's big. It's like you're talking about trying to learn from last year and the year before, and then the format changes, do you know what I mean? So something we spoke about at the end of last year is trying to learn, I suppose, for the third game and the second game, which way you're seeded. So and then it's all up in the air again. So look, we just have to deal with it when it comes.
Yeah, and just on the team this year, like Shawnee has kind of caught fire this year. I think he scored 4.42 or something in the league. Like, you've probably seen him come in when he was young. He's probably only a couple of years younger than you anyway, but like his development in the last few years, he kind of came in behind Conor Sweeney and Michael Quinlivan, big Tipperary forwards, and he's taken on that mantle, and he's been in incredible form this year.
Yeah, I suppose he would have learned from the two lads and all the other forwards that he would have came into the. I suppose when Shawnee came into the squad, you would have had the likes of Brian Fox, Philip Austin, all them guys. Like they're guys you learn massive amount of too. Like, and he's really taken the mantle in the last couple of years, and this year then he has Keane and Dahi beside him, and that takes a lot off him as well, because if teams go to focus on Shawnee, they're going to get hurt in other places. Do you know what I mean? So that helps him massively as well. That we've a lot of threats and we've a lot of different options that teams have to look at. So that'll help him as well massively. And
just on 2-pointers, they've been important for Tipp this year. Got some big ones, particularly when I think over in London, got a few big ones late on in that game. How is that? Like I mentioned, you like having a go even before the new rules from distance, but now you get double the reward. Is it something that lads go out in the field that started training and start kicking a few 2-pointers, or what is it? Something that's probably changed how you kind of approach the game?
I suppose you bring it into training as well. Do you know what I mean? And you try and work on these things, but you wouldn't be long about being told if you're missing a few as well. So try and make sure that you're taking the right options. I suppose that's something we have worked on it quite a bit this year. Is trying to get the ball into positions that were actually realistic shooting opportunities and trying to get our percentages up. Because if you can get more shots off than the opposition in good areas, it doesn't matter if it's ones or twos. Your efficiency will win or lose your games. We played Wicklow a couple of weeks ago and we actually got more shots off than Wicklow. You wouldn't have thought that by the result. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're only as good as your efficiency any day, and we just need to make sure that efficiency is high, and every time you get a chance at the goalpost, or that being a match or a training, that you're trying to nail it and try and increase your efficiency.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier playing in Clonmel. Your last game in the league was here in Thurles. There's always bigger crowds when the matches are in Clonmel and places like that, but the argument is that sometimes either the management or players prefer playing in Semple Stadium. What's your overall kind of take on that in terms of where Tipp's home games are being played?
Yeah, I suppose we got a nice tour this year. We got up to Moneygall and down to Clonmel and into Thurles, so we've got a nice spin of the county. So nobody can say they didn't get a chance to see us this year anyway. So, but yeah, look, I think it's good that we get a mix in between Clonmel and Thurles, and we've a lot of young players on the team that have a lot of energy, and I wouldn't fancy following them around Thurles, you know what I mean? And
is it a different game when it's played on Semple Stadium?
It is, in fairness. Like, it's such an open field and good surface that, especially if you're playing in the league, that you get a good surface and it's fast, and when you have players like that, it's good to take advantage of that. But again, then you come down to Clonmel and you're obviously going to have more people at it, better atmosphere, but it's like, at the end of the day, we want to have home games that we win, and we'll play the games anywhere in Tipperary that we feel that we're going to get a win. So as a team, we don't really mind too much. It's up to the management, and we'll leave that decision to them.
100% record up in Moneygall. So
we'll play all our games in Moneygall.
Well, Paul, it's been great talking to you. The very best of luck come Munster Championship.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Paul. Thank you.
And that was my conversation at the launch of the Munster Championship with Tipperary football captain Paudie Feehan. We're going to take a quick ad break and we'll preview the game after these. And you're very welcome back to part 2 of Across the Line here on Tipp FM with myself, Paul Carroll, on this Friday, the 10th of April 2026, all in association with the Premier Credit Union in Thurles. Well, we're going to continue our look ahead now to Tipperary versus Waterford, 2 p.m. on Sunday. And the man who's going to be joining me on commentary for the game joins me on the line now. Anthony Shelly, how are you?
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, good to have you on, Anthony. We're looking ahead now. Championship season has arrived for the Tipperary footballers on Sunday down in Dungarvan at 2 o'clock against Waterford. I suppose we spoke to Paudie Feehan earlier on the show about it's kind of a strange time in a way, because as a Division 4 team, you're nearly always kind of fairly accepting that you're probably going to be playing in the Tailteann Cup. But as we stand now, it's still there for Tipperary to maybe get into an All-Ireland series. You were part of the management setup last year in with Philly Ryan, and you had Waterford in a quarter-final as well last year. How did you kind of navigate this kind of particular kind of moment in the season?
Yeah, well, I suppose going in last year was probably a bit different, because the Waterford game last year was a real focus for us because of what they had beaten us in 2024, if you remember, down on Farrer Field.
Yeah.
And so that was a big one. And we just wanted to get over that game and then see where it took us after that. Like, but in the back of our minds, without anybody saying it publicly, in the back of our minds, we always knew that we were probably going to end up in the Tailteann Cup.
Yeah, because speaking with Paudie Feehan, he just said that they're going to take it game by game, and I suppose that's all you can do.
That's all
really.
you can do, really.
Yeah. So it's an interesting part of the season. If Tipp were to get over the line, or whoever wins this game on Sunday will play the winners of Limerick and Cork in the semi-final. Limerick and Cork play at the same time, 2:00 on Sunday in the other quarter-final, and you have Clare and Kerry at the other side of the draw in the semi-final. So that's the lay of the land in the Munster Championship. But earlier today we saw the Tipp team was named, and of course Tipp played Waterford in the last round of the league just 3 weeks ago, and there's 2 changes from that team. So Jack O'Neill comes in at cornerback for Jack Harney. Jack Harney is going travelling. He had made that clear to management that he'd stick around for the league, but he was going travelling after that. And then Killian Butler is coming in to start in the half-forward line with Paddy Creedon on the bench. It's a young team, Anthony, and a kind of a loss of experience there from Jack Harney, but also the absences through injury of Stephen O'Brien and Luke Boland.
Stephen O'Brien and Luke Boland, 2 huge players, 2 very experienced players, huge losses to us. And Mark Stokes not starting is a surprise to me as well.
I think he's just coming back from a knock as well, yeah.
Well, he didn't play in the last game, but I think it was more down to he had a bit of a flu that day. He didn't play the last game of the league against Waterford, so maybe he picked up a knock in between. But it's a very inexperienced team. I was just looking at it and compared it to the team that beat Waterford last year in the championship, and I think there's 11 changes, which is a huge amount. Now, they were nearly all on the panel, but to the starting team, there's actually 11 changes from what started last year. And if you remember last year, Paul, we were comfortable enough for a lot of the game, and then Waterford in the last 15 minutes kind of got a run on us, and we were hanging on there near the end. I think we only won by 3 points in the end. So it's in Waterford, particularly in Flower Field. I know they've only beaten us twice in the last 40 years, and I think the score is 11-2 to Tipp in that. But there's been some real big battles down in Flower Field where we've just got over the line, and particularly with the results that Waterford has beaten us in minor within the last week and in under 20. So I'm sure Niall has had a few sleepless nights that he probably wasn't expecting. It's a real squeaky bum time now. You don't want to lose to Waterford three times within the space of a fortnight. That would be an absolute disaster for Tipp football. But their card is marked now. They know what's in front of them. So it would be different if you were going in and you just lost the under 20 and you could get caught. But if by losing 2, I think Tipp will be really up for this, and I'm expecting a big performance from them.
Yeah, and looking at that Tipp team as well, I make it as 5 players making their championship debut. Shane Garland, his championship debut with Tipperary anyway. Charlie King, Joe Higgins in midfield, and Owen Craddock and Killian Butler as well. I believe it's both, definitely Killian Butler, and I think it's Owen Craddock.
It's definitely Owen Craddock as well.
Yeah. So that's 5 championship debuts, which you've kind of made the point there. Look, reflecting on the team last year with 11 changes, it is a lot. And going down to Friarfield, very difficult place. We know that. We'll talk about that game 2 years ago in just a moment. But it's a young team heading down to what can be a very difficult place.
Yeah, then it's the one thing you're guaranteed in Flower Field is there will be a win.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the weather isn't supposed to be great for the weekend either. So wind and rain can be a real leveler. We always thought when we were playing in Flower Field, you still have to go through your process. You can't be hoping that the wind will never win the game for you. It will help, but it won't win the game for you. But sometimes lads with the wind take on crazy shots and stuff like that. You still have to get your shot selection right. Go through your process. Do stick to the game plan as if it was in Semple Stadium, and take it from there, and see how the cards fall. But that's probably my only worry for Sunday is it's such an inexperienced team.
Yeah, and Speaking on that 2024 game, Waterford beat Tipperary for the first time in Championship for, was it 30, 40 odd years?
1988, the first time since 1988.
Yeah, so that was you were on commentary with myself down there. It was a kind of a dark day. It was a real windy day. Tipp had the wind in the second half and were up by a point at half time and ended up losing the game. I think it was 2-7 to 1-5. I nearly have PTSD going down here on Sunday, Anthony, after that. But I'd imagine the players, I'd have to look back on how many players actually played that day. So maybe they don't have that same feeling going down to Friarfield on Sunday. But that was a dark day.
Yeah, it was a real dark day, and I mean, I think I nearly had a meltdown live on radio after it. I went in a rant, because at half time of that game, Paul, we were 1 or 2 points up. There was an absolute gale blowing, and we had it in our backs in the second half, and for whatever reason, just things didn't work out, and that can happen if Waterford will come. Waterford always fancy the Tipp game, so they're never going to go. They're going to go to the end. So that's kind of where we have to be. Just because we beat them fairly comfortably in the league, but it was the last game of the league, and Waterford probably had written off the league for from 3 or 4 games out in that because they hadn't won a game. So Waterford always come. Their big game of the year is Tipp. It's the one that they fancy. So the inexperience and the I suppose the hangover from 2024, even though not many of these will have it, they'll have seen the result. Waterford will be buoyed by that. They'll think they have a right chance in Friarfield. It will be interesting, Paul, but it is one that you go down, you get your job done, and you get out and you move on to what will probably be Cork.
Yeah, and I'd imagine from a Tipp attacking point of view, Waterford will be trying their best to quench the fire that is Seanie O'Connor in 2026. 3-4 he scored against Waterford in the league game 3 weeks ago. So I'm sure, as it was probably their plan back 3 weeks ago as well, is to try and keep him under wraps. But he is, as he always is, key in Tipperary's progression here.
Absolutely. I mean, he ended up as top scorer in Division 4 in the league, and as far as I know, Keane Smith came in third place on that table. So, and you have Dahi Hogan there as well, who edited. So, you tie down. That's going to be Waterford's problem, trying to tie down Seanie, but you can't just do that in isolation because Keane Smith has, he got 31, 32 points during the league. Dahi Hogan can chip in with a goal and a couple of points as well. So it's the Tipp full forward line is really, really exciting if we can get enough ball into them. That's where I think the game will be won and lost. I've been saying all year that if a team managed to shut down Seanie, Dahi and Keane, we might be in a bit of trouble. But credit to the lads is obviously every team has gone out to try to do that and nobody has done it yet. So that's where we need to kind of keep getting the ball into them, and those boys will do the business. I'll
throw a random statistic at you here, Anthony. One player in all of Munster actually, but it's a Tipperary man who has played every minute of both the McGrath Cup and the league. Who is it? So Tipperary man who's played all the minutes so far this year for the Tipp footballers. I'm putting you rightly on the spot there with that now.
Yeah, you put me rightly on the spot. God, every minute. No, I was going to say Shane Garland, but he came off against Waterford.
Yeah.
It's
it's a good one.
Seanie, is it?
It's Kieran Costello. Kieran Costello has played every game, every minute. So yeah, he's a bit of an Iron Man. He's lining out at number 5.
Yeah, Kieran is you never have to take Kieran off to give him a rest, and his GPS stats every time are probably top in every single match. He covers every blade of grass. He's just a brilliant athlete and a brilliant footballer, and some addition to our team.
Yeah, for sure. So that's 2 o'clock on Sunday. Anthony will be joining me live for that, but we do have more football over the weekend. We mentioned the under-20s and the minors. The under-20s are playing Limerick on Saturday evening at 7 o'clock in Rathkeale in what is the Munster B final. So both Tipp and Limerick didn't make it out of phase 1 of the Munster under-20 football championship. They will play a B final in Rathkeale on Saturday at 7 o'clock. Then Monday evening at 7, Tipp play Clare in the Minor Football Championship, the final group game in Phase 1. And Tipp pretty much need to win this game by about 15 points, and then they need Waterford to beat Limerick in the other game if Tipp want to progress. So it is very much an uphill battle. Tipp have lost their opening 2 games against Limerick and against Waterford. So it's been a disappointing couple of weeks, Anthony, for under-20s and the minor footballers. It's
been probably as bad a week for Tipp football as we've had in a long, long time. And, it's the Waterford result in the minor kind of wasn't really surprising, and because the performance against Limerick up in Latin have been so poor. The under-20s, they have a decent setup there, and but it just seems that they've never really settled on a proper team, on what's their best team. Like, they're going into their 4th match now on Saturday, and I think it's they're going to be using their 4th full back and their 4th centre back. So, they're 2 pivotal positions that you need to tie down, and you can't be just, if somebody doesn't have a good game, you've got to back them and say, look, we go again. Give it 2 or 3 goals. Like, you can't just keep changing or moving the deck chairs around. Like, I mean, as I said, our 4th full back, but we had beaten that Waterford team by 21 or 22 points at minor level 3 years ago. Like, and we were using our 3rd full back at that stage, but the guy that played full back at minor level against them was actually playing wing forward, and it just there's a few decisions there that management will have to look at and kind of go, but this is probably, there'll be very little interest in this. This is a 5th place playoff. Right, I suppose you could try, do a PR spin and say, well, it is a Munster B final, but at the end of the day, it's a 5th place playoff, so it's not I don't think anybody will be going celebrating for days on end if we won this one. So it's been a hugely disappointing minor and under-20 campaign so far, and I think maybe it's time that the Tipp Football Board or Tipp County Board or Games and Development or whoever is in charge of these things maybe need to call in outside help to do a real root and branch review of where the Tipp underage structures are at. There's no point in us doing it ourselves. We're all too close. We all have that bit of bias. I think it needs to be an outside independent group. Waterford or Wexford have done it at underage football recently. Westmeath have done it. Longford have done it. Donegal have done it. Loads of teams to call in independent guys to have a look at the underage structures. And I think that's what we need to be doing, because I've been involved, Paul, over the years in the reviews at the end of the year, and you'd be overdeveloping squads or so, whatever, and it can become a box ticking exercise. You go in and they say, "How did you think you got on, Anthony?" And I say, "I thought I did great." They say, we thought you did great as well, and off you go again, and the box is ticked for another year. I think it's time that we're at a stage now. We don't need, it may be just a bad year. Like, if you go at minor level for the last 4 years, Paul, in the Phase 1 stage, we've played 12 games. Take this year out of it from 2022, I think, 23, 24 and 25. We played 12 games and we won 11 of them in the Phase 1 stage. So, it's not fully broken, but it's definitely broken this year, and you'd be hoping that, we need to get somebody in to have a look at development squads at under 14, 15, 16, how we go about picking them, more importantly, who we get in, get proper coaches in. And I'm not saying that there are probably great men in there, but we need an outside look at it to give an honest opinion on it, or else we'll just, what's happened in the last week will continue to happen on a more regular basis.
Well, some very interesting points brought up there, Anthony, and we'll probably tease them through throughout the off-season for these under-20 and minor setups for Tipperary. But for now, it's Sunday at 2 o'clock is the big one for the senior footballers. Anthony will be joining myself down in Dungarvan, and once we can get there anyway, hopefully we can get diesel into the cars anyway to get down to Dungarvan, and that one will be live with thanks to John Kennedy Motors, your main Toyota dealers in Clonmel. So we'll see you Sunday, Anthony. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks a million, Paul.
Right, we're going to switch attention to the world of camogie, and you might be already on the way to Dunmore in Kilkenny listening into the show this evening as the Tipperary under-23 camogie team play Kilkenny this evening, 7 o'clock in Dunmore in the All-Ireland under-23 camogie championship. A win there tonight for Tipperary would see them into an All-Ireland semi-final, but one Tipperary team is already in an All-Ireland semi-final, and that is taking place at 2 p.m. on Saturday in Castletown Gagan GA Club in Westmeath. It's Tipperary versus Galway in the All-Ireland minor camogie semi-final, and joining me on the line now is the Tipperary minor camogie manager Ray Ralph. Ray, how are you?
Paul, good. Paul, very good, thanks.
Yeah, good to have you on, Ray. Looking forward to this match tomorrow against Galway. 2 o'clock is the throw-in time for this All-Ireland Minor A camogie semi-final. Strange enough venue, Ray. Castletown Gagan in Westmeath is not a usual venue you'd see for a Tipp and Galway match.
No. Myself and the county board officers, we questioned it with Grove Park, and we didn't get much up now, Paul, to be straight about it. Gráinne O'Leary flat out there, we were trying to bring it a bit closer to Banagher, bring it down. We actually gave an option to toss between Portum and Lara or Puckon, do you know what I mean? No, they wanted it there. So look, hey, we go play the match, Paul. It's out of our control, you know what I mean?
And I'm sure the players are likewise. They play an All-Ireland semi-final anywhere, but that is just something that jumped off, that it is a strange enough venue. But Castletown Gagan GA Club in Westmeath is the venue. Tipp against Galway, 2 o'clock on Saturday. How has preparation been, Ray? You know, you've had kind of 2 weeks since the last group game, which came against Galway. But how has the last two weeks been leading up to tomorrow's game?
Good, Paul. Good. The girls are eager. They're training well, going well, moving well. No injury worries. We've one girl there was sick during the week. Hopefully she'll be fine. I think she will. Attitude very good. These girls are looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it. To be fair to them, look, their underage career probably coming up along wasn't very successful. They're great. I can't say anything bad about them, Paul. They're a great bunch of girls. They're actually a joy to be with. I mean, enjoying it. The management team are enjoying it. The physio, everyone that's there, really enjoying the group. It's good fun. And look, we're not going to make any excuses. We're going at it. We're not going up to take part like we're going over. We're going to have a cut. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we're going at it. Simple as. I'm sure if it works out fine, we're in an all-out final. If it don't, we won't be making any excuses.
Yeah, and it's against Galway, who you played in that last group game. Now, Galway won that game by 8 points, but you were both already assured of a place in the All-Ireland semi-final, so maybe you can't take too much from that game. But have you taken much from that game, or have you kind of parked that and left it off?
Well, our philosophy is you learn more from a defeat than you do from a victory. We were exposed in places. We're going to try address all that, obviously. I was happy with the girls that day. We've actually done quite well. We conceded 2 goals, and it saw it out that way. But to be fair, it wasn't a fair reflection of the way we played the game now. I thought we just made a couple of mistakes. They capitalised. We hit the crossbar. We hit the upright. Our goalie pulled off time. You know, we had equally the chances, but we didn't convert. So, look, they're probably favourites for the match, but we're going at it anyway.
Yeah, looking forward to that. To the way you were speaking about just the whole enjoyment of enjoying being in training, the players are enjoying it, you're enjoying it. When it comes to this stage of a season, when you're in knockout championship mode now, you don't want it to be the last game. You don't want it to be the last collection of this team and management and this set of players. So that plays its part too when it comes to this end of the season. You want to be training next week.
Yeah, we spoke about it last night in the rag. We don't want this to be our last night getting together. You know what I mean? We want to see can we get to the next step. And like semi-finals are very hard to win. Finals, you know, they're different gravy. They take a life of their own. But we'll be going all out. Like we want to be training next week, full stop. But look, it's in our hands now. We have to work really, really hard. Our work rate has to be up. We have to take our chances. We have to tie down them in places, So we have a lot of work to do tomorrow. But the girls last night, they're willing to do it. Like, they want to go ahead. So let's see.
Well, Ray, wish you and the team the very best of luck. Hopefully you will be training next week and we'll have an All-Ireland final to look forward to in the coming weeks. But best of luck tomorrow up in Westmeath, and wish you well.
Paul, you're a gentleman. Thanks very much.
We're going to take a quick ad break here on Across the Line, and after we'll be looking ahead to the rest of the weekend sporting action, some big soccer ties to look forward to, and Barry Drake will give us our greyhound racing update. All that coming up in just a few. And you're very welcome back to the third and final part of Across the Line here on Tipp FM with myself, Paul Carroll, on this Friday, the 10th of April 2026, all in association with the Premier Credit Union in Thurles. Now, let's give a quick rundown on what's happening in the world of sport in Tipperary that we haven't mentioned so far on this week's show. It's a big weekend of soccer, big day tomorrow of youth football with the Anne Gilmore Youth Cup final in the north of the county taking place at 2:30 in Ardcroney. That one sees BT Harps taking on Arrow Rovers. And then at the same time on Saturday in Kerr Park, the TSDL Youth Cup final sees St Michael's taking on Clonmel Town. Sunday is a big day of soccer in Tipperary. The FAI Junior Cup takes centre stage. 4 all Tipperary third round ties down for decision. 3 o'clock starts for all these. Cashel Town make the trip to Templemore to play BT Harps. Ballymackie host Clonmel Celtic. Cullen Latin are at home against St Michael's, and Clonmel Town travel to Thurles to take on Peak Villa. 3 o'clock starts to all of those games. And there's one game in the NTNDL Premier Division, and it is a big one on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Shinrone United can go 3 points clear at the top with a game to go. That's if they can beat Ardcroney at home 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. Elsewhere over the course of the weekend, you heard us mention the games for the Tipperary minor footballers. That's on Monday evening at 7 o'clock in Quilty against Clare. Also taking place over the course of the weekend, you heard me and Anthony talking about Tipp against Limerick in that Munster B football final in Rathkeel at 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. And it is also worth mentioning Dorothy Wall, feathered native, lines out for Ireland tomorrow. 2:25 p.m. is a strange kick-off time, but that's at the time of the game in Twickenham. Ireland against England in the first round of the Women's Six Nations. Feathers Dorothy Wall there starts in the second row. Something to keep an eye out there tomorrow afternoon. But now at this time of a Friday evening on Across the Line, it's time to talk dogs with Barry Drake.
Tipp FM's Greyhound News Update with Limerick Greyhound Stadium. Enjoy top-class racing at the Con and Annie Kirby Memorial each Saturday night and check out their dinner or group packages.
There's some fantastic greyhound racing to look forward to over the course of the next couple of nights, and it all starts at the local Clonmel Greyhound Stadium tonight. Of course, 7:30 start each and every Friday night, featuring the opening round of the Sorley O'Doran Memorial A3, A4 Guys and Dolls competition. In the opening heat, a greyhound that's been in tremendous form, winning its last 2 starts, is He Ran Exile, who's owned and trained by Andrew Lynch down in Cappaquin. And this greyhound has got stunning early speed and is expected to bounce out in front and dominate from start to finish there in the opening heat. Also, keep an eye on Grantstown Taz in the second heat, of course, yet to taste success in a couple of outings, but has 1 or 2 eye-catching runs in defeat in the book, of course, trained by Thomas O'Donovan, the Tipperary man, of course. No doubt he'll have this greyhound primed for this competition and is certainly one to keep an eye on over the course of the next couple of weeks. Paul Hennessy is always a man to watch out for when he makes the trip to Clonmel, and he's got Taylor's Tipple in the third heat. That's another one to keep an eye on there, certainly not without a chance. And finally, in terms of the opening round of the Sorley O'Doran Memorial competition, Miss Jelly Beans was an impressive winner last time out when winning for Clonmel trainer Kevin McLean, and was value for more on that occasion, and looks like a greyhound that should climb the grades in the coming weeks. Switching our attentions on to Thurles Greyhound Stadium on Saturday night, of course, the first race due off there at 7 o'clock. Some good racing action to look forward to in Thurles there on Saturday night. And one to keep an eye on is Listen Roxy in race number 5. This one for Patrick Marr was out of luck on debut, but did show plenty of promise in a hot contest. taking a significant drop in class here, looks capable of getting off the mark on the second time of asking. Definitely the standout selection for me there in Thurles on Saturday night. Back to Clonmel on Sunday night, where they hold their usual Sunday night SIS racing programme, which will get underway at 6:04. The Ketchup Man is a greyhound that's been in great form in recent outings. It's won its last two for Cian Gleeson and Martin Kern down in Ardmore in County Waterford. And from the rails draw, should take plenty of stopping there. Saves its best form for the inside of the track, and it looks like a good opportunity to complete the hat-trick. Elsewhere on the card in Clonmel Greyhound Stadium on Sunday night, just looking ahead to race number 6. This is an A4 contest here. Ascot Aaron is not without a chance in trap number 3 for Billy Mullen and Francis Mullen. However, the selection here will be trap number 4, Poker Queen, for Tipperary trainer David Flanagan. Hopefully she can produce one of her quickest starts and get to the front early, and if that's the case, should take plenty of stopping. Ascot Logan was a winner last time. Great to see it return to winning form after a couple of near misses. It's won 34 times in the past for Billy Murphy and Francis Mullen. Got a good chance there in race number 8, but a couple of nice sorts in opposition here. Kerry Road Jesse is an improving sort for Clonmel trainer Kevin McLean, and that one will be finishing very fast. Keep an eye on that, and they're the two to concentrate there in that race. So as I said, great weekend of racing action in the Tipperary circuits there between Clonmel and Thurles. Now switching our attentions to the big racing of the weekend, of course, at Limerick Greyhound Stadium. It's the semi-finals of the Conn and Annie Kirby Memorial 2026 competition, of course, with 80,000 euros to the winner. And as I said, looking forward to a big night there in Limerick on Saturday night. Ballymac Setanta has been the anti-post favourite since the start of the competition, owned and trained by Liam Dowling down in Ballymcgilligan in County Kerry. Beautifully drawn in trap number 1 and going on its 27.90 winning performance last week, should take plenty of stopping. Keep an eye on trap number 6, Waiting for a Star, for Tipperary trainer Patrick Guilfoyle, who ran such a big race in defeat last time. That one has claims of progressing through to the final despite a tricky draw out wide. The main danger to the selection should be trap number 3, Get Up the Boy, of course. The Juvenile Derby winner has bundles of speed, and as I said, should be in the mix. It's plenty of Tipperary interest in the second semi-final, because Graham Holland, of course, the champion trainer, has got 1 Ballydoyle Tina, 2 Bocco's Gold and 6 Beano's Yank. All have big chances, but I'm just going to go with trap number 2, Bocco's Gold, who might be able to get out in front and make all the running. Also keep an eye on trap number 4, Bouncing Monarch, who's been one of the stars of the competition with 2 sub-28 second runs trained in Tipperary by Michael O'Donovan. So very much, as I said, looking forward to the semi-finals, and we'll have a full preview of the big final here next Friday night, of course. Great to see all the GA clubs involved as well in Limerick, with an opportunity to win some big money. More on that, as I said, next weekend. So it's a busy weekend, plenty of Tipperary interest all over the country, and of course great racing at the Tipperary tracks.
And many thanks as always there to Barry Drake for giving us a comprehensive rundown on what's happening in the world of greyhound racing, both here in Tipperary and further afield as well. That's just about all we got time for this week's edition of Across the Line. And one final reminder, Sunday at 2 p.m. in Cappoquin Logistics, Field, we will have live commentary of Tipperary against Waterford in the Munster Senior Football quarter-final. That commentary is in association with John Kennedy Motors, your main Toyota dealers in Clonmel. Many thanks to you listeners for tuning in, and for all the guests for making the show happen this week. And just one reminder that next week's show is lined up to be a very, very big one as we look ahead to Tipperary against Cork in the Munster Senior Hurling Championship. I already know next week's show we have Liam Cahill and Ronan Maher lined up. We also have Willie Maher, the head of hurling, lined up as well, and we'll have plenty more guests to preview Tipperary versus Cork. That is next Friday evening's edition of Across the Line. But for this week's edition of Across the Line, it's bye for now.